Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Book Hunting. This particular episode is based on a very fortuitous find I made in a little university town, Athens, West Virginia. In fact, Athens, West Virginia is the home of Concord University, my alma mater. Of course, when I graduated from there in 1989, it was only Concord College. They didn't yet have the university status or any graduate programs. And in fact, for this video, I am wearing my Concord University colors. Be true to your school. At least that's what they tell me. Uh, I travel a lot for work, although there's over southern West Virginia and sometimes into southwest Virginia. And that gives me a lot of opportunities to book hunt. And one of the territories I always like to hunt is Athens, West Virginia. They have the university, they have numerous little free libraries, like probably more little free libraries in a very small area than any other place I go. And I know I've made at least 2 other videos about books I found at Concord University. And the Athens, West Virginia hunts are always kind of neat because they're all free. Um, they're well, thus far always free. I know years ago the university had a used book sale, and I bought a couple of books, but that was quite a while ago. Years before I ever thought about doing YouTube videos. But to cut to the chase, I was there last week as just part of my work travels, and obviously I stopped. Found an interesting book in the university's little free library, and another one on their usual giveaway shelf. But then I went into the university library to to answer the call. And on my way back out, through the side, if you go out through the side door or even the front door, you pass a room called the President's Room. And in the President's Room, they keep some historical documents. They have photos, kind of a lounge area with a decorative fireplace. And whoever the college president happens to be, their portrait will be above that fireplace. It's a nice little space. I just kind of glanced at it out of the corner of my eye, and my peripheral vision caught sight of 2 large folding tables with a pile of books on each. And that was enough to drag my eye for another second to see the sign at the front of the room that said, "Free books, take as many as you like." Well, I don't need much more of a nudge, so I did. Um, and once again, found some really interesting stuff. I want to just try and go through them real quick. Like I say, I think I've pulled around 30 books off those tables. And I also got this very nice photo of the front of the library. There were several photos, different areas of campus, some movie posters for movies I'd never heard of before. But that one did catch my eye, and so grabbed it and put it up there, at least for this video. And like I said, about 30 books. And some of them I just intend to use as what I call trade goods. They're nice books. They're good quality books as far as, the condition. But I'm not particularly interested in them. I don't know anybody else who is either. So, like I said, I just have those to put in little free libraries for trade purposes. Well, without further ado, let's go through the books I found. A lot of classics. I want to go through those first, including this very nice, I think it's a little worn, but very nice edition of Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. I know I have a copy, at least of part one, somewhere behind me or off to my side. So I don't intend to keep this one. Probably donate it to the Hatter Bookshop. And the warning I gave with all books I mentioned that I'm going to be donating uh, uh, from the post time of this video, give those nice folks at least 2 or 3 days to clean the books, process them, price them, and get them into inventory. But I'm sure they would love to sell you this very nice copy of Don Quixote if that's something you're interested in. If I'm not mistaken, this is the best-selling novel of all time, and rightfully so. It's one of those seminal stories. All right, what we got next? Oh, not found a Signet classic in a while, and this is a very nice one. This is, of course, Sinclair Lewis's It Can't Happen Here. Sinclair Lewis is probably most famous for his Babbitt novels, set in Zenith. Is it Missouri? I forget. It's been a while since I've read any of those. But of course, it's the story of a cautionary tale, a story of the rise of an authoritarian dictatorship in the United States in the 30s. Published in 1935, which of course was a troubling time not just in America but around the world. And the title "It Can't Happen Here" uh, is about a story where it certainly does happen here, and it certainly still could happen here. Uh, Very good book, cautionary tale about what's valuable about our society and how we should preserve it, and how you shouldn't fall for those who, let's just say, would take advantage of hard times and turmoil and for their own benefit. Anyway, this is a keeper for me. I don't have the book. Signets are my second favorite paperback classic line, so this one isn't going in anywhere at all. It'll go in this section over here somewhere. Just gotta find some room for it. Very good book. Next, let's go with the Three Penguins. Found three penguin classics. First one up is Robert Louis Stevenson, uh, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and some other short stories. I already have this exact same edition. This one's in very nice shape. And one of those great works. It's even after almost 150 years, it's still part of the popular imagination. This will be a donation to the Hatter. See, I already have the very same book. This one is in slightly better condition, though, as you can see. The next one is another book I already have. And my copy is just in. Now it's a little nicked a little bit. This one's in great shape, though. It's one of the older penguins. But yeah, the Greek Alexander romance. So, so once again, this will be a donation to the Hatter as well. This one's a keeper. Um, uh, Thomas Mann's Death in Venice and Other Stories, or Other Tales, is the exact title. And it's got this really neat image of a foggy Venice, I would suppose. Um, uh, Not read it. It's highly acclaimed. And who knows? If I so long live, I might actually get to read it. I already have a copy of this book, which is in good shape, and I'll be donating that one to the Hatter. This one will replace it. I'll upgrade to this very nice, pristine quality penguin. It's another one that I'm going to keep because I don't have. And it's, of course, John Galsworthy's Forsyth saga, a story of new money English, well, they're not really gentry or nobles, but of nouveau rich English people at the turn of the 20th century. It's a story of, actually, this is a collection of three novels. The main story about this family, the Forsyths. Know just a little bit about it in the setting, but this is, of course, an Oxford Unity Press classic, and this one I will keep, find hopefully room for it on my very top shelf. Okay. I'll call this a classic. E.M. Forster's Maurice. I already have a copy myself in an omnibus. In fact, I think I have all the E.M. Forster I really want or need, except I would like to have, in some format, his story, The Machine Sleeps. Early dystopian techno um, apocalyptic kind of stuff, where machines control humanity. Um, and then what happens when those machines break down because we become so overly dependent on them. Really chilling story. I have it, I think, in a digital format, but I would love to have it in something more physical. And of course, Maurice is a novel published after Ian Forster's death. He's probably most famous for Passage to India, maybe A Room with a View. Um, There's another big novel he wrote that I am blanking on. But Maurice is the story of a young man in uh, I believe that I think it's predominantly set in the 1920s, who's dealing with school and life and all those other things, and on top of it, he's dealing with being homosexual. And there's a good reason why M. Forster did not publish this during his life, because I'm sure he found he knew what happened to Oscar Wilde. In fact, he has letters to the effect that he doesn't think, based on England's legal and social climate, that this novel could be published. And as I said, it was not until after his death, I believe in 1971. He died in 1970, I think, and this book was published a year later. Um, like I said, I already have a copy of it, so I'm going to donate his very nice edition to the Hatter. All right, those are all the real classics, I'll call. And then some modern, highly acclaimed works. I found this very nice Riverhead Essential Edition of The Kite Runner, which, of course, is a story set of a young person in the aftermath of America's invasion of Afghanistan over 20 years ago. Highly acclaimed book. In fact, my son had to read it in high school, if I'm not mistaken. This is a very nice edition. We have deckled edges. We have French flaps. We have some critical apparatus. I already have a copy of The Kite Runner. So, once again, I think I'm going to donate this one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Um, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I have read her first book, The Secret History, which was, I thought, a very good book. I already have a copy of The Goldfinch, and it's in not as good a shape as this. Mine's in okay shape. This one's in really good shape. I'm gonna see if the Hatter's interested in it. I don't know if they have a copy currently. Uh, but we'll see if they do, because this is a very nice one. And Don Tart has a following, and this was an award-winning book. As you can see, winner of the Pulitzer Prize. It says so right there. Oh, and let's see. Some fiction that I'm going to take to the Hatter Bookshop by request. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and one of the sequels, The Girl Who Played with Fire, both by the late Stieg Larsson. Um, these were on my be on the lookout for list. So I looked, I found. So these will be going to the Hatter very soon. Here's a couple that will probably be going to the Hatter. But I may try and complete the set first. And this, of course, are the first two books in Hilary Mantel's trilogy of books about Thomas Cromwell, in the court, I believe, Henry VIII. Um, and I know more about the historical period than I do these books, but I'm told that Hilary Mantel succeeds in doing, I think, what would be a very difficult task, and that is making Thomas Cromwell a sympathetic character. There are, of course, three books in the series. This is the first one, Wolf Hall. The second, Bring Up the Bodies. And I believe the third one is called The Mirror and the Light. And my thought right now is I will put this on what I call my reserve shelf, which I keep in a different room. See if I can't collect the entire trilogy. I'll probably then donate it. I have another copy of Wolf Hall, which I've started reading a time or two. Like I say, it's well written, so eventually I think I will at least read Wolf Hall. But for now, I think I will save these and try and build a set. Right. Here's another keeper. A very, very nice copy of The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. One of the very old school noir, detective stories. Maybe really the first. This is probably the book that kicked it all off. I believe it was published in the 1930s. Actually, 1929. Yeah, just a classic book, where we first get the character Sam Spade, hard-boiled private detective. I say this one is just so nice looking. There's Mr. Hammett. So this one's a keeper for me. Um, I I love these stories. Read a lot of Raymond Chandler, Mickey Spillane, some of the other folks who kind of followed after Dashiell Hammett. Um, but yeah, that's definitely a keeper. Classic book. Here's another nice work of popular fiction in an edition that I had never seen before, but is really, really nice design. This is Jean Auel's Clan of the Cave Bear, first of her Children of the Earth series, or Earth's Children series. Well, in all honesty, this is the only one I've ever actually read. I read it, thought it was really good. I think, in fact, I read it when I was at Concord University. I think out of their a copy out of their library that I read in between classes. Uh, Now I'm thinking about Concord University. Um, like I said, a very good book. I had a buddy read where we were trying to read one of the sequels. I think The Plains of Passage. Oh, and it was the last book that I just didn't get through. I got a little more than halfway, and I just kind of gave up. Or I might come back to it, and try and pick up where I left off. But oh gosh, how do I describe it? It's like a prehistoric travel log. It's all about animals and plants and nature encounters. Not a lot of plot. It's just like scene after scene of we encountered this and this is how we dealt with it kind of stuff. Um, but this was really good, really good. Story about a Homo sapien raised, at least in her youth, by a band of Neanderthals. Like I said, recommend this book highly. Like I say, despite my struggles with one of the sequels. All right, what else we got? Okay, we are winding down. Let's this one next. This is the only. No, well, there's another book in this hall that's literary commentary. So if you count that, that might be nonfiction. This is the only one I got that is clearly nonfiction. That is Guns, Germs, and Steel by Jerry Diamond. I have read this one. I think a very good book. In fact, I have several of his books. I haven't read them all, but I've enjoyed his writing. Um, Jerry Diamond is in this book, and in some of his other works too, proposes a theory called geographic determinism. In this book, he argues that the reason that European cultures were able to colonize and dominate the world really didn't have much to do with their ethnicity or genetics or anything like that, but by the geographical advantages they had as a starting point, which gave them an extra kind of boost that they then utilized eventually to go out and dominate the world. Um, with these Guns, Germs, and Steel. Very good book. In fact, if they if they don't have one already, this will probably go to to staff favorites at the Hatter Bookstore because it is a donation to them. I already have a very nice copy, so I'm going to give them this one, which is a 20th anniversary. Of course, once again, won a Pulitzer Prize, deservedly so. All right. Let's see what. Let's go ahead and talk about the other one that's kind of nonfiction. The Roquelaure Reader, a commentary on Anne Rice's erotic fiction. This is kind of like a resource guide, dictionary commentary, some criticism of her Sleeping Beauty novels, which you may recall if you're a avid fan of this channel, and there might be actually one or two of you. I found a couple of those books in a thrift store in Virginia a few months back, and I'm going to pass this along to the header to go with those. If you don't know, Anne Rice, before she became popular with the vampire stories and books, uh, wrote erotic fiction. And like I said, this is a commentary on some of that. All right, we're winding down. Oh, here's another big old brick of a book. The 75th anniversary edition of Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Read this one a long time ago. Let's see, when is the copyright? Oh, there's Miss Mitchell and her dog. Oh, and this one has a preface by Pat Conroy, another writer I really appreciate. Yeah, 1936. 1936. So 75th anniversary. My math's horrible. About 10 years ago. But yeah, real nice edition of this book. Um, I, I'm trying to get away from hoarding books, especially, mammoths like this one. So this one will go to the Hatter. I'm sure, it's a popular book even after 90 years or going on 90 years. So, sure they'll be able to find a good home for it. Uh, but yeah, just a beautiful book. And although the story and the style is a bit dated, oh, and some folks will say it's lost cause mythology or mythologizing. I did never read it that way, and I'm a big fan of the lost cause stuff. Um, no, it's just a story about surviving adversity, really, and valuable life lessons in wanting things that you just shouldn't want, and the damage that comes from trying to get things that you shouldn't try and obtain. Leave it like that. Don't want to spoil too much about the story. Anyway, Gone with the Wind, Margaret Mitchell. Uh, I already have this exact same book. This is Thomas Pynchon's Mason and Dixon, which is a fictional, I would say almost mythological retelling of the story of, let me make sure I get their names right, Charles Mason and Jeremiah Dixon, who in the real world are probably most famous for surveying the boundary line between Pennsylvania in the north and Maryland and then Virginia to the south. And the Mason and Dixon line has become over the last couple centuries is kind of like um, a symbolic dividing line between north and south. And although most people probably think it's a whole lot farther south than it is. When I went to WVU, I lived less than 5 miles from the Mason Dixon line, and accidentally crossed over into Pennsylvania accidentally a couple times. We were so close. But like I say, if you like Pynchon, I've not read it. I think the only Pynchon I've read is Gravity's Rainbow, which is a mind bender of a book. But I'm donating this to the Hatter, like I say, because I already have this exact same brick of an edition. I don't need a second one. In fact, I'll donate that one if I can find this in a smaller sort of format. Good word for it. But I know they have a couple customers who are big fans of Pynchon, so I'm hoping they can use it and probably use it very quickly. Right. Finally, a fantasy series that I found there, um, and a book of short stories related to it. These are, let's see, the Night Runner series by, what's the author's name? Lynn Flowelling. Let me just hold them up. Big old stack of stuff. And in looking through the books and doing just a quick glance online, this is a 7-book series. I have 6 of them, plus an extra book of short stories. And from the description on the book, it sounds like buddy fantasy. Let's see, when did she write the first one? First one came out in 1996, just maybe 3 or 4 years after I really stopped reading voraciously. And I read a lot of fantasy in those days. But it sounds like a buddy story. Young Alec of Carey is a spy rogue and thief. Basically, comes under the mentorship of an even more sophisticated thief, and they have adventures together. So I think I'm going to try and read at least the first one. Uh, I wish I had a complete series. Like I say, it intrigued me. I like buddy fantasy. Ever since I was at Concord College, reading all the Fafford and Mauser books. Shout out to Fritz Leiber. May he rest in peace. Anyway, these looked interesting, so keep them for now. But and probably as I read them, if I can get through them in a timely enough manner, I'll donate those as well. And I believe that's it. Like I say, a really nice haul, absolutely free. As I tell my friends who hunt animals, this kind of haul to me is the equivalent of shooting a 10-point buck. Um, and just shows you the potential of just being a dedicated book hunter. If you want to hunt for books, it doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. As I said, this was, travel in a direction I was going in anyway. But I was very pleased with this one. I think I found some really good stuff. Hope you think so too. But with that, I think I'll wrap up. And as always, be safe. And I hope you have good adventures in book hunting. Take care until next time.